Welcome everyone to episode 4 of JourneyCast.
Episode 4.
Today we have with us a Hillcrest alumni, you could say.
Yeah.
Krystin Thomas. Krystin, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Tell us a little bit about yourself for our viewers who don't know who Krystin is.
Well, there's not many people in medicine who don't know who I am.
Right.
So I'm just kidding. No, I am Krystin. I am a teacher at medicine at Christian School. I teach the grade 7, 8, and 9s there, so that's really fun.
What do you teach?
I teach math, the best subject.
Nightmare.
No, it's the best. Equilaterals. Anyway, and I used to work here at Hillcrest. So I used to be I used to be a youth leader, and then I was hired on staff as youth coordinator.
Yes.
Youth pastor's assistant, youth director. Yeah, it was youth assistant to the youth pastor. And then youth direct, I don't know, there's like 5 different title changes. And then I finally became a assistant youth pastor, full on, not to the. It's minus the to the.
Minus the to the.
Yeah. So I was around here for like 8 years in the youth ministry department. And then,
married, have a couple of really cute dogs.
Yeah, 2 dogs, 1 husband.
Really good with plants.
I love plants. Yeah, I have a little jungalow at home.
Decent at thrifting.
Everything I own is used. Yes, it's very good.
I have a present for you.
Oh,
Are
really?
those glasses?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, they're not.
Are the glasses used?
Glasses are not used. Glasses
that
and
wouldn't be everything
socks.
then.
Well, I'm sorry. Most everything. Can we know what this present is now?
Yeah.
Is it the pillow?
No.
Oh.
That would be great.
Yeah.
But it's not as excellent as it could be because it's not the authentic stuff.
Oh,
that
it's
is your
actually
favorite.
here.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
We're
hidden in
gonna
this
give it to you.
backpack.
Is it Coke Zero?
Yeah,
Oh, it's
well,
Diet
no,
Coke.
it's Diet Coke.
Oh, this is amazing. Can I have it right
This
now?
is what they had.
That's
yeah.
why we gave it to you right
Yeah.
now.
I hope it makes really loud sounds in the microphone.
That is the sound of Krystin opening a 500 milliliter bottle of Diet Coke.
Yes.
Not a sponsor.
I actually do like Diet Coke better than Coke Zero.
Oh, excellent.
But it's just a little, like Coke Zero is just a little bit healthier.
We particularly like the stuff from McDonald's. I don't know what to say. McDonald's has the best.
Really?
It's
pop.
crispy.
It's just so
it's
good.
bubbly. Yeah, it's so good.
I heard it was something about their water filtration system.
Really?
Yeah.
Well done, McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's really good.
That's what we came to talk about today.
Yeah.
Is McDonald's.
Yeah.
And Coca-Cola.
Just kidding.
What? I'm not prepared.
Surprise!
Surprise, different topic.
We're about to talk about the number 1 requested topic for this
Drum roll.
podcast, which we don't want to talk about, which is why we waited till topic 4. But here we are, and we're going to talk about it enthusiastically because this is what you want.
Yeah. Careful on the table.
Dating.
Sorry.
We're going to talk about dating because that's what you want us to talk about, I guess, because you see us as like the most wise of all of the
we're clearly
wise.
some dating experts.
Yes.
Yes.
You
2
brought
out
out
of
the
3 of
big
us are
guns.
successful.
Alicia and I actually have made a formula so efficient that we got engaged
Yes.
within 24 hours of each other.
That is actually true. That's not a lie.
We
That is
sent it to
true.
the group staff chat. And it's so funny because the day that we helped Tyler plan your engagement, and the whole time Parker was thinking, I'm going to propose the day before. And then the whole time that I was like celebrating with Alicia, I'm engaged. We went out for supper with them. It's so exciting. I was thinking, you're going to be engaged tomorrow. So
And Krystin actually helped to set up my engagement.
I did. Yeah. It was fun. If you know Whispering Pines, I climbed that big hill holding a lot of stuff
Yes.
to the gazebo.
Oh, yes.
Yes. But the formula.
Denver was on our podcast last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
And his
From
wife,
Whispering
Julie,
Pines.
I think she was pregnant and carried like vases filled with rocks up the hill.
Julie's
with the
unstoppable.
She
She makes it look
unstoppable.
easy.
She's
Yeah.
just like, I was so impressed with her.
This is how excited we are to talk about dating. We're like,
Yes.
let's talk about anything else.
It's true. It's true.
No, but you guys actually submitted some questions, and Levi has them.
Some serious questions and some not so serious questions. We'll get to some of the funny ones near the end, maybe.
Yeah, and we can
We have
talk about
time.
this more than once.
Yeah.
And please keep in mind that this is just our thoughts.
Yeah.
We are professionals in the sense that we think that we're smart.
Yes.
Yeah, don't.
And we
don't
prayed
make
that God would give us
decisions-
wisdom, but
Yes.
Don't make decisions based on, on the podcast, they said this.
Right.
Still ask for
Yes.
wisdom from God.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and respect your parents.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
your parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And other people's feelings.
Yes.
Yeah. So, because like dating's not in the
Own your
Bible,
decisions.
right? So we have to just take everything we know about the Bible and be like, how does it fit? And this is how we think it fits.
Who's telling us that? Dating was invented with like around the time the car started being used.
I was telling you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want
And
to?
how your options then?
Would you like?
were
Okay, so
small, yeah.
So
Tell us your story.
dating was well, it's not my story because I wasn't born in 1920, but dating was invented with the car. Like, it's a relatively new thing. It's about 100 years old because the cars came out in like 1920, I think, or something like that. And so, like, typically you would marry someone within 5 kilometers of your house, right? Born kind of the same time as you. And how you would date is you would take your horse and buggy over to Susie May's house because she was close. And you say, Susie May, I'd like to court you. And then you would spend all of your time with her family, having suppers, helping on the farm or at the house or just whatever it was. And you would date with the family. Like, you would just integrate yourself into that. And once you felt like you could be a match and fit into that, you would get married. And so with the invention of the car, what happened is it became a lot easier to leave the house. So now the guy could go pick up the girl and the girl could come out with him. So dating came out of the house.
When you could drive further, so then your span of who you could date or marry is getting larger.
Yes, that's true. Well, you could drive further. And then if we even look at now, like Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat, you could be talking to people in like Red Deer or Edmonton or even like the States, like anywhere,
dating,
right? So our pinpoint of who we can date and how we can date is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But dating's a new concept. It's not biblical. It's not mentioned in the Bible. And it's just, it's something that our generations, the past 3 generations, have had to navigate.
And we want to do it well.
Yeah.
We do, to honor God.
And yeah, I feel like our culture's setting a pretty horrible example for some of you. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Do not get your advice on dating from
TV
90
or
Day
movies
Fiancé.
or
No. Euphoria.
any sort of
High School
Yeah.
Musical.
Yeah.
No.
First question: how do you tell your crush that you like them?
Okay. So I have 2 thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Number 1 is I'm just stealing from my husband, Tyler. He's like, this is so easy. He's like, you just walk up to someone and you're like, I like you. But I have to say at the same time, that's not what he did.
No. Yeah.
So this is the awkward retelling of how Tyler told me that he liked me. Yes. So Krystin and I were hanging out with Tyler one night and...
No. You can't start there.
Oh, okay. You tell
Alicia
it.
and I were hanging out, and her and Tyler were kind of like, ooh, flirting a little bit. They liked each other, and everyone knew, but they hadn't told each other. So Alicia and I were hanging out, and Tyler texts her in the afternoon and says, I would like to come over to talk to you. And Alicia looks at me.
Terrifying.
She's like, you can't leave Krystin. I cannot be alone with him. I'm not ready for this conversation. I don't know how I'm going to respond to it. And so,
It's true. I was turtling.
Tyler, who I knew liked Alicia, and Alicia I knew liked Tyler. And so I'm sitting there in the house, and like Alicia's like, you need to stay. And Tyler's like, you need to go. And so it was very awkward. It was very, very interesting time. But anyway, so
yes,
by
sounds like a
force,
sitcom.
Yes,
I was.
but it's real life.
It was so fun. And
it's scary to tell someone you like them.
Well, and I knew that they liked each other. And so I was taking pictures the whole time. It was very cute. But it was cute because it was so awkward. Because it is scary. Like it is an awkward thing.
You have to
even
be
as
vulnerable.
an adult. Yeah.
Yes, even as it is vulnerable, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So continue from
So
there.
then Krystin eventually did what Tyler wanted and left.
It was like, yeah.
Tyler and I are like just awkwardly talking about I don't even know what for the longest time, and it's getting later and later. So then he goes to leave and he's like standing at the door and he's like so sweet and he like was very brave and he told me that he liked me. But this is where like my super weirdness comes out because like I'm the most awkward person that I know. And so my response should have been I like you too, because that was true. But I said, and I quote, "You're not so bad yourself."
And then she shut the door.
So then the next day I was like, oh my word, like all night long. I was like, why did I say that? Why did I say that? I get up in the morning and I was like, hey, I just sent him a little text. I'm like, just so you know, just to be clear, I like you too. He's like, oh no, I figured it out.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I don't know. It requires bravery and vulnerability
But like you should do that, right? You shouldn't like be like, get your friend to do it for you.
right. Yeah.
No.
Or send it over like a text. Really. It's,
own it. Because if you mean it, own it.
Well, and I think too, relationships really rely on communication and being able to be clear even in awkward times. And so just, I don't know, like Parker did something similar where he's very clear with me, like, I like you and I want to date you. And it was like, oh, it's so nice not wondering. Or like talking for 3 or 4 months and being like, are we dating? Do you like me? It's just like clear and concise. And like that just sets a really good tone of communication for your relationship.
Yeah.
there you go.
So how do you tell them? You use your words.
Your thoughts on that too?
Honesty.
Honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I asked someone out one time and I made it very clear that like, hey, like I would like to go on a date with you and this is why. And like later they're like, hey, like by the like I appreciate that like you actually like clear about your intentions from the start. Like that made a difference.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and it shows that.
And it was hard. Like it took me like a half hour to build up the confidence to make that phone call.
Yeah, you're just standing there. Hey. But yeah, it's good.
You're like amping yourself up in your
Yeah,
room,
actually,
like loud
yeah.
music,
Yeah,
like
no.
Looking in the mirror, you can do
your
it.
friends are like, come
Yeah.
on,
Yeah, and then you get up there and you're just sheepish.
Yeah.
I like you.
Yeah.
hang up the phone.
But
Hey.
it sets the tone too, because you're being very clear and
And that's going to make it easier to be clear with each other later on too.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And you have your answer right then and there, right? Like,
Yeah.
I like you, and then you get the response, okay, you can move on, or you can,
Yeah, you're not, like you said, you're not spending months just wondering like,
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
what is this? I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We used to call that wheeling.
Yeah.
When you would go around and around and around, just like talking and talking and talking, but never really sure what was happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why you should be honest and just tell them how you feel.
Yeah.
How could I know who's the right person for me?
Good question. I think there's a lot of wrong people for you. I think ultimately, here's what I think. I think you need to date somebody who you are entirely yourself with.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's any point at all in thinking about spending the rest of your life potentially with someone who you're like weird around all the time. Like there's always going to be weirdness when you're like,
Yeah.
or like, hey, do they like me? Or like the first little while, but like,
Yeah.
can you be fully yourself with this person?
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you feel like you have to put on a show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, can you be vulnerable with them? Can you tell them like, oh, I don't know, the hurts in your life or like your hopes and dreams? Like, can you be funny with them?
Can you trust
and
them?
can you trust them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you friends? Like,
Yep.
can you just be friends with them and just get along with them in a platonic way?
Yeah.
Because a lot of relationships, like, is platonic time, like going to the movies or having dinner, conversations. Like, can you just naturally be in that state?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think there's only one right person for you. Like, I think that like you should know what you're looking for in a partner. Like, do you want someone, like, are you athletic? Do you like going for hikes? Do you like bike riding? Do you like going to the movies, right? And finding someone who is compatible with that.
Yeah.
Someone who also likes hiking and going to the movies and doing those things. Someone who you get along with naturally and easily. And ultimately, like, if you want to live a life honoring God, does that person live a life honoring God?
And I think so too. Like, you know, and I think this is something you need to think about when you're getting serious in a relationship. Like, what's their plans for the future? You know, what do they want to do? Do they
Yeah.
want to have, you know, it's like, it's a faraway thing to think about, but do they want
But
kids?
it matters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
do they
if
want to
you
live
don't want kids
in the
and you
town
do,
you live in?
like, there's people that get divorced over that.
Yep,
Yeah.
all
Like,
the time.
it's a serious thing. And like, yeah, like, do you want to leave? Do you want to stay here? Like, do you want to travel across the world and do missions together? Or do you want to stay at your local church and do missions here? Like, what does your future look like?
Yeah.
If you like your family, do they like your family?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
These
and
things
that
matter.
kind of comes back to that whole, like, the old way of dating. Like, right. Like you went to the family's house and spent time with them
Yeah.
as a whole. Like, I think that's still an important value. Like, you don't
Yeah.
have to look in a 5-kilometer radius, but like,
Yeah.
but like, that's important too. Like, do you get along with your family?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Right.
I think I always, when talking to people about dating, I believe there is some give and take. Like, you do change and you adapt to help serve the other person. But I also think that them coming into your life should feel so natural and so easy. And like, you should be just easily able to get along. Like, it's not a struggle for them to come over to your family's house and get along.
Right.
And you're not always butting heads about things. And you have a lot of common values in
Yeah.
your life that you look
Build
forward
you
to.
up and encourage you, not drag you down.
Yeah.
not
And it's good to know
stop you
these
from
things. Like,
hanging out with your friends.
yeah, like, still having your, like, are you your own person?
yeah, that's
Living
a,
a
sign
life
of, like,
alongside another. Yeah.
yeah, if they're like not letting you hang out with your friends or see your family, that's like
That's
a
a
sign
big
of
deal.
like a pretty,
Yeah.
like an actually toxic relationship. Like, that's like manipulation.
If you're getting isolated and pulled
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, are you still able to live your life the way you're living it
Yeah.
with your future plans ahead alongside them, with them?
Yeah.
Just to be clear, because you said something along the lines of, I don't think there's just one person for you.
Oh.
Do you believe in polygamy?
No. I think there's one. I think you know the one is the one, when you say I do, and that's your one, and you're married singularly to that person.
And then are you looking for other options?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Which kind of leads into the next question. Does God choose a specific person for me? I think we kind of answered that. Like, I think, yeah, like people think that their life is sometimes, and maybe this isn't like consciously thinking this, maybe you're subconsciously thinking this, but like your life is not a Disney movie.
No.
Like you need to realize that like your life is not a 3-act story where it all works out in the end like a fairy tale. Like, I mean, like God wants good things for you, but he doesn't also want to write like a perfect love story. Like he wants just to like, like, so like it's.
He already wrote the perfect love story.
Yeah, exactly.
What
like
is that?
Jesus.
I know. Just to clarify.
But like it's not like people think, like, oh, I'm destined for this person.
Yeah.
I'm destined for this. I'm destined for. It's like it's.
It kind of eliminates you making good choices too, right?
Yes.
It's like, well, God said I had to marry this person. So.
Well, and okay, so in high school, I have this friend from high school, and they want nothing more than to be married. It's a guy, and he had this list of like he knows that God made his wife all of these things, and we're 26 now. He's 26, and he's lived his whole life, and he's dated wonderful girls, but she didn't have this one thing, and he really thinks that God is going to complete this entire list, and so like he's passing by godly Christian women who he gets along with and has wonderful friendships with, and like has dated because he's waiting for the one. And it's kind of like
he's
FOMO.
going to fill anyone else's list.
No,
that's true.
That's
right?
true.
Like it's yeah. Like there's you're not going to just like I'm no expert at this. Like I'm not married, but like you're not going to just get married to someone and everything's going to be perfectly easy and smooth sailing.
You're a human being
forever.
living with a human being.
So I think like I think you should only marry one person, but I think there are like multiple people you can marry and have a very happy life and a very successful marriage with.
Miserable life.
Yes, yeah. But I don't think there's just one person set aside for you.
Yeah.
But I think that one person comes in your life when you say I do, because then you're married, and that is your person.
Yeah, it's that commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the characteristics of a Christian dating?
We've talked already, this is only episode 4, we've talked many times about how Jesus asks us to be set apart and to live differently than the world around us. And I think that matters when it comes to dating too. So like on TV, if everybody's just out there like, I don't know, doing it on date number 1, you're not doing that, right? We're living differently.
Right.
I think, what do you think?
I think that Christian dating should look different for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that the reason why dating is portrayed as highs and lows and crazy and up and downs and huge romantic dates and stuff like that is because people want buy-in like on media and stuff, and the highs and lows of things are what make things look fun or make things buy in, and so you'll watch it and you're engaged in it. But really, I think Christian dating is pretty flat. Like I think life is just pretty simple. I think dating is you're living a life that you're with someone else. Like you're doing your normal things. You're being kind to each other. You're doing like cute little bringing roses and date. I don't know. Like it's
Going
just
to youth group.
Yes, it's not these highs and lows. It's just being a friend with someone.
Yeah, and I think like people think that you need to like be this incredible adventure of like let's go on this big crazy trip together and do these amazing things together. And it's like that's great, but like is your relationship only interesting to you when those things are happening?
Yeah.
That's like The Bachelor. It's like, we're going to fly you to Europe and go on these like whatever dates. We're going to be up in a helicopter. And then it's like real life.
Yeah. So like what is Christian dating?
Do you want to go grocery shopping?
It's true. I think it's like getting to know someone and getting to know their story and who they are and seeing like, does this person fit seamlessly alongside me?
Yeah.
Like, can we get along? Does this work out? Can we go grocery shopping without, like, can life be fun and exciting with that person?
And when you don't get along with them, can you work it out?
Yes.
Right.
Do you know how to work it out healthy?
Can you
in a healthy
communicate
way?
and not just like stuff things down or
just bottle stuff up until
manipulate
you
and
explode.
rage?
Yeah.
I think it's like you said, it's gonna be a lot different. and our culture has shifted so much in a different direction of what dating is.
What love looks like.
Yeah. It's the person that you can be yourself around, that you can be honest with, that you can trust fully.
Yeah. And you're upholding God in that, right? And you're honoring God in all that you're doing, inviting your youth leaders or youth pastor or whatever into that process so they can help like evaluate your relationship and see like, is this leading you towards God? Is this helping you become a better Christian? Is this helping, like, are you helping them be a better Christian and stuff like that? It's honoring to God, and it's just living life simply with them and figuring out how you can communicate.
I don't know if this is the right place for it or not, but it's just making me think about it. My theory about how we date the people we should friend zone, but we friend zone the people we should date. I think like when you think about culture, right? Or you think about people with these lists of what they want, right? Like most of the time their list is like physical. It's like I want them to be this tall or have this color of hair or this kind of teeth or whatever, right? And so like we end up sometimes dating like these people we should never date who are like the actual worst, right? And then you end up marrying them and it's like, oh, I live this horrible lifestyle and this person's still doing all these toxic behaviors. Like, yeah, that's who you dated.
But they were interesting at the start.
Yeah. And we like, you marry who you date, right? Like even when it comes to like, I don't know, if you're a believer and you really love the Lord, you love your faith and you want to spend your life going to church, if you're going to date somebody who like does not know the Lord and doesn't love him and, you know, like to say, well, maybe they'll change and it'll be great. Or, you know, or you take these risks because you're dating them. And then what if you end up marrying them? Because that's how life goes, right? Like you can't guarantee you're going to break up.
You're going towards that. Yeah.
And then I think sometimes too, like there's these like super awesome people out there who are like, you know, like, oh, but they're my best friend. I'm like, you want to be with your best friend.
Yes, it's true.
You know, instead of someone who makes you uncomfortable all the time, but is like maybe good looking.
I had a friend once who they had been broken up for a bit and they're like wanting to get married, and he was like, yeah, like I just don't know who, like if there's anyone here for me. And I was like, hey, like what about this one person that like you like spend a lot of time with her? And he's like, oh yeah, but she's like, you know, like she's like a sister, like okay, like because you feel like you can be yourself and honest around her, right? And he's like, yeah, totally. I'm like, yeah, no, you shouldn't date her, you're right. And I was like, no, like dude, like that's what you want. You know, like not someone that's just like exciting and entertaining, but someone who's like you can be real with, and someone who like encourages you to be better and wants the best for you. You know, isn't trying to get something out of you, but like is supporting you too.
So like, how do you know who will be a good partner then? And this might sound weird for the first second, but like, are you attracted to what God's attracted to? Like when God looks at someone, what makes him happy in that person? Well, it's like God, it's not physical characteristics. It's all about character and your actions and your decisions. And like, are you reading your Bible? Are you connected to church? Are there like things that you're doing in your life to honor him? What is God attracted to in a person? And that's what you should also be looking for in a person.
This makes me think about what we talk about all the time. Are you the person, say it. Are
you the person you're looking for is looking for? So again, if you're looking for someone who loves God and loves family and works out and likes to cook, well, are you someone who is actively right now loving God and actively right now loving your family and actively right now loving to cook and all of these things, right? Like if you have your standards like way up high, but who you are is like
you need to
match that.
You need to meet the standards you're looking for.
Yes, that's a way better way to say it. You need to meet the standards you're looking for. Use your list and reflect it on yourself.
People will trademark anything these days. You know who you are. No, I think that's important. Like it's you have to. It's like almost that self-awareness, right? Like it's like, well, are you doing those things? It's like,
Yeah. And you're not gonna become that person as soon as you start dating the person you want to date.
No, and
you're not
no one is
change.
there to fix you.
No.
And you're not there to fix other people. Like if that's your motive at all, is to like feel more whole or happier or and
if it's something like if there's someone that like, oh, they're struggling for something and they realize they need to improve on a certain thing and you can support them. But it is not your responsibility to fix them.
Change them into what you want them to be.
No, people change a lot too, like especially if you're in youth, like if you're in high school still, the person you're wanting to date right now is
Yes.
there's a good chance they might be the same person when they're in their 20s. But there's also a good chance they're going to be a completely different person in their 20s.
Yes.
Like, because you change a lot.
Yep.
Or there's potential to change a lot.
Yeah.
So
I
like
always-
be ready for that, because they might be a completely
Yeah.
different person.
I tell Parker often, I'm so glad that we didn't meet when we were 18 because we would have not clicked. Like I'm not the person who should have been getting married at that age, right? And so I'm so happy we met later when we had that time to develop ourselves and become who God has created us to be as much as we were when we got married. Yeah.
Absolutely. Next question. Can I date someone who is not a Christian?
I mean, yeah. Should you?
Yeah.
It's not a great idea.
I mean, we touched on that a little bit. Like, that's something the Bible actually does talk
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
is being unequally yoked.
Yeah.
And that's not like egg yolk. Everyone always thinks it's
What
that.
about flirt to convert?
That's the worst idea ever. Because your heart gets invested,
Yeah.
right? Like, and
Yeah.
who's to say that you don't, like, I don't know, fall in love with somebody that, you know, you don't actually have your morals in line with. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
if your faith really does matter to you, I think that should matter to you, that someone is like, that's the unequally yoked thing. It's like, it's talking about oxen carrying the weight of plowing,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So if you've got one that's like really strong and the other one's really, really weak, it's like the one that's strong is doing the work of both. The other one's
Right.
not even doing anything, right?
Yeah.
Or is being
One-
dragged along, or, you know, so when
Yeah.
it comes to like, yeah, marrying someone who doesn't have the same faith as you or whatever, like you could be even like really into your faith and marrying someone who's like, you
Yeah.
know, like, okay, I'll go to church with you or whatever, but isn't really invested. Like you have to think about those things for
Yeah.
Yes.
the course of your life. Like it actually matters.
And someone, I think this might have actually been my mom. Hi, Mom. Said like something like, okay, you can make it work. Sure. You have kids. Are they going to church or not? And like right now, maybe they don't care. Like, you know, before you've even been married, like, oh yeah, I don't care if you take it. Like, but maybe their mind will change. Maybe, hey, I don't want you taking them to church. Like, I feel like they're getting, you know, brainwashed over there or something. Like,
Yeah.
those things matter. Like,
yeah, it's hard.
it's hard to make those decisions when you're unevenly yoked.
And big lifestyle choices like your faith are big areas of contention in relationships. And that's why it's important.
That's true, because it encompasses a lot. It's not
Yes.
just, do I go to church on Sunday mornings?
It's
Yeah.
like, how do I live my life? What are my morals? How do I spend my
important to
money?
me?
What's it?
Do I tithe?
Yeah. And so, like, yes, you can date someone, but if you're serious about your faith, you shouldn't be.
Yeah. It's not a good idea.
And it's easier to get pulled down than pulled up, right?
Yep.
You're not going to bring them up to this godly level. It's more likely that they're going to bring you down, right?
Next question. How do I know when to get engaged? I feel like you're jumping
You've
the
been
gun
dating
there.
for a long time
Yeah.
there, guys.
Yeah. When you know they'll be a good spouse.
I think it comes back to that too. Like, definitely don't. How do I say this? You have to get engaged for the right reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not not just because you're tempted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't just
Yeah.
don't just get married for the honeymoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is your
That's
life.
a good way to say it. That's
this
what
is
I'm
your
trying to say.
life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you are at an age where you're legally allowed to get married and you know that person is going to be a good spouse, like you've done life with them, you've dated, you've seen them go through hard times, you know how to communicate with them, they get along with your family or whatever your priorities
And
are.
you've gotten beyond that honeymoon phase, right? Like when you
Yes.
date, like they say for like the first year, it's just the honeymoon phase. Everything is great. Everything is fine. You
Yes.
barely
Well,
argue.
and you actually can pretend to be someone else for a long time.
A year and a
right?
half, 18 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how long you can statistically pretend to be something else and even convince yourself you're something else.
Yep.
And then your true character will come forward.
Yeah.
And so, but I think, yeah, you should get married when you know they're going to be a good spouse and you feel, and your community is alongside you in that, and the people you care about are agreeing and,
And
saying
pray
this
about
is
it.
a good thing.
Like, you know, that's a really cliche Christian
Yeah.
thing to say, but it's important to like pray about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
If you don't feel at peace about it, maybe that's a sign it's like
marriage, yeah.
not time yet, you know?
Marriage will not fix your problems. in
No,
a
until your
relationship.
family and friends support it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
should not just run away and elope
Yeah, you
because
shouldn't
I know
start
him
dating
better
someone
than you
without
do.
even getting advice from
Yeah.
your
Yes.
friends or family.
Well,
first.
and for example, like when Parker and I were dating, Alicia was like my accountability partner or like person. Like I told her everything. I'm like, hey, this is what I'm learning about him. This is what we're up to. This is like our life together. What are your thoughts on this? Because honestly, Alicia knows me better than, well, now Parker knows me better, but Alicia knew me better than anyone else. And so I invited her in that process as like a godly woman that I admire and I know loves me and loves me enough to tell me the truth.
Yeah.
Did
Well, and you guys
she-
were working together at the time, so you were spending like all your
all
time
our
together.
time together. Well, it
So
was
she
during
knew you well enough.
COVID
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
We were the only people we just see each other
Allowed
all
to
the
see,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like the people in my life who love me enough to tell me the truth were saying this is a good idea for you to get married.
And he's great.
He is
I
great.
stand by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a great guy, Parker,
Yes.
if you're listening.
You are great.
Good work, Parker.
10 out of 10.
Next question. Did we sufficiently
I like
answer that
that.
question? Yeah, I
happy with it.
think that's a good way to sum that up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I felt like I was moving on too quick for a second. Next question. If God told me to get married to a specific person and I didn't know them, should you tell them?
No, this is not a thing.
Yeah, this is very
I am confident that this
strange.
is not a thing.
Yeah.
I think there are so many people out there, so many, so many, and they're like, God told me I'm going to marry this person. And they sit in that and they just kind of wait for it to happen, and it doesn't happen.
Well, it comes back to that list your friend made.
Yeah.
You know?
If someone were to say that, I don't know, like before I was married, if someone came and said that to me, I'd be like, well, that's nice because God didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I am not, if anything, like that guarantees I'm not going to marry you.
Well, people do that sometimes, right? It's
Yeah,
like
we
that
use God that
manipulation
way.
of like, well, God told me to tell you this, or God told me I have to do this. And it's like
You should test that.
yeah.
Well, and I think sometimes we use our emotions
should test
as
that.
confirmation.
Especially when it involves someone else. Like, well,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
God didn't tell me.
They
so
should also
we'll
hear
see
the
what
same
happens.
thing.
And how horrible if someone was just like, okay,
Yeah.
and just gets married. Oh,
or like
Yeah.
you're in this miserable situation because you think that God told you
Yeah.
you had to do this. I mean,
Well, no,
yeah,
they told
you should.
God told them, but not you. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you should test
and
that.
if you truly feel like that is the truth, you keep that to yourself.
I would
Yeah.
never use that.
Yeah.
No.
yeah, because God, if that's true, God will probably also be telling them,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
and you'll make an effort to.
Uh-huh.
And then maybe you tell them
Spend
God
time
told you
together.
that, like marriage at first sight type intervention. Maybe you tell them after you're married, after
Yeah,
you
there
dated
you
for a
go.
while,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Write it down in
Wait
your
till you're married.
write it in your journal, and it can be something really cool if you marry that person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
It's a good way to scare people off.
Yeah.
I think so.
That's if you want to see what happens, go ahead. Important boundaries in dating.
I think especially because this is for teenagers, you should just have friends around all the time.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
your parents or your siblings or something.
Or someone
I just-
checking in on you at least, you
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah, be in public spaces
Yeah.
and
No closed doors.
Yeah, go on group dates, whatever that
Yeah.
is. Like so that you're not by yourself. I just think like temptation would be so quick and I don't know.
yeah.
It just lurks. I just think you can protect yourself that way. And you should, I guess, if you're dating someone, you should be able to talk to them about your boundaries.
Yes.
And you should
And
set
if they
that
don't
together
respect
and have an
those
understanding
boundaries.
of that and not be like, oops, we crossed that and now I'm going to tell you that was my boundary. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is a quick way to destroy what could be a really healthy relationship
Yeah.
too, is to not communicate that and then
Well-
cross a line and then you can't go back.
And talking about communication, like I think even before you start dating, you should know what your boundaries are
Yep.
and what is okay and what is not okay.
Yeah.
And then early on in the relationship, you should be on the same page. Like, hey,
Yeah.
this is my boundary. What are your boundaries? And create like, this is what I expect. This is what our time together should look like. And this is the things we're going to put in place so that we uphold our boundaries. And
Yeah.
tell your friends that, tell your community that so
Yeah.
they can help you stay in check.
Keep you accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they often talk about that as being like a ramp, right? It's like an
Yeah.
on ramp. You can't just like reverse.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just have to really pace yourself on stuff like that. Be careful.
Like some practical boundaries are like group dates,
Yep.
open doors,
Yep.
separate blankets,
Yes.
stay vertical, like stay standing, right? If you're watching a movie on the couch, like don't lie down, like just sit up, right?
Yeah. Nice big bowl of popcorn and the Bible between you.
That's right. Or friends with you,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even sometimes boundaries can also be like emotional boundaries.
That's true.
Because sometimes you get your life so like I've seen so many friends where they just get so enveloped with their boyfriend, and that becomes their only source of like they're only they only tell each other their prayer requests. They only do Bible studies together, or like they only tell that person their problems.
So here's where I'm going to interject with our next question. This can kind of be a part of this.
Okay.
Ooh.
If dating someone, how do I balance my dating life, or my dating life with still hanging out with friends?
Okay. Yes.
So like that's a part of that,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're exclusively talking to each other and
Yeah.
only being open with each other and like spending all of your free time only with each other.
Yeah.
That's not healthy.
It's not healthy at all, and
No.
it's not maintainable for the rest of your life.
No.
Like Kristen and we were friends before we started dating the guys we married, and we're still really good friends now. Like we're still a huge part of each other's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there was never a point where I'm like, well, it's just me
You
and
just
Tyler
didn't
now. It was
disappear,
nice
yeah.
being friends.
Yeah.
Because you need that support of the
Yeah.
people around you.
Yes, and you shouldn't only want to be with your boyfriend, right? You should want to have
Or
other
girlfriend.
relationships.
Yes,
Oh yeah, sorry,
thank
boyfriend.
you.
Your dating partner.
Forget about the guys.
That's true. That's true. You shouldn't only want to be with that person. That's
Yeah.
not healthy. Again, we talked about like manipulation and boundaries, and it's just it's not. You should have a lot of people around you. You should have a whole community around you, not just one person.
And you'll need friends the rest of your life.
You do, yeah.
What if, and I'm making up my own question here. Yeah,
How
like
dare you.
boundaries of, I'm sorry. Boundaries of, like spending time together. Like what if they don't they're like, hey, you're free. Why can't we be together right now? Like, I just want some alone time. Like that's not wrong.
Yeah, no.
No, you're right. that is a
Especially
good
for
boundary.
introverts, right? You know, people that
Yeah.
need that alone time to just kind of recharge, to
Yes.
regroup, you know.
Parker and I had that conversation early in marriage
Yeah.
because we got married in COVID. And so
Yeah.
then it was work from home, and we were like together all the time. And we are like, is it okay that I want to go upstairs and be by myself and like read a book?
Right.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. You don't.
No.
Because you feel a little bit, no, you must stay here.
Yeah, it's no. You are still your own person.
It's healthy.
It is healthy. Yeah, it's not good to only ever just be together all the time and only. Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
I think also like still hanging out with your friends without your boyfriend there is important. Like talking
Yeah.
about friendships and that, like, and hanging out with your friends and actively being present with them.
Yeah, not just checking your phone every
not just
5
texting your
minutes.
boyfriend,
Yeah.
or not only just talking about your boyfriend, but just like keep your hobbies. If you don't have hobbies, have hobbies. But like keep your hobbies, keep your friends, keep your sports teams, keep your youth group.
Yeah.
Add that in, not replace.
Yeah. Dating should not be your hobby.
Yeah.
No.
I had a friend actually in high school who I only ever saw when she was single. Like she was our friend when she wasn't dating. And you
I
always
had that
knew,
too.
right? I'm like, oh, she broke up with her boyfriend because she's like sitting with us again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't be like
that is a horrible
That's
thing.
not a
And
true
yeah,
friend.
you're gonna hurt a lot of people in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need your friends.
Yeah. Yeah. How old is too old? Feel like if you're in high school,
You don't need to
should
ask
be
that
with
question. Yeah.
in a year of each other, hopefully.
Are you the same like emotional maturity? Like if I
Yeah.
look at like a grade 9 and like even a grade 11 student, that's 2 years difference. That's like
Yeah.
15 and 17, totally different places. But you might say, oh, we're just 2 years apart. No. Like that's a big difference, right? Your growth as a teenager is like exponential. Every year you
Yeah.
get more mature and you learn more and you develop more. So like it's important
And
you
it's-
stay tight within that.
It's a lot different in your 20s.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a lot different in your 30s.
Yeah.
And it's going to get more different as you get older and older.
Yeah.
But if you're in high school, yeah,
Within a
Nothing
year.
drastic.
within a
Drastic,
year
Yeah.
is probably, yeah. Next question.
There's so many questions.
Yeah.
Did you write all these, Levi?
no.
Are these your questions?
No, but yeah, these were submitted to our Instagram story.
We're going to end up having to do this more than once, hey? They're going to just give us more questions.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had these submitted through our Instagram and on our website. If you're not following us on Instagram, go to journey.cast. That is where we publish everything, clips, stuff like that, when we have a new episode. So follow us there. So we got these submitted through there, and then also on our website, some people submitted some. So, yeah. A little bit of context. Are dating apps as a Christian bad?
If you're in high school, you should not be on a dating app.
Yeah.
So I hope it was one of our youth leaders who submitted that.
Yeah, I think
I
it might
think
have
the
been.
legal age is 18.
If you're an adult, you can use a dating app. It's just I don't know. It's sort of the worst, eh?
Like some apps just have certain connotations with them, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to find a lifelong partner and you don't, and you've like looked at your pool of people around you and there's not really anyone there. Yeah. Use a dating app. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Tinder is not a dating app.
It is not. No.
I'll fight you on that.
I have some very good friends who got married because they met on a dating app.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact it works.
Yeah, I know.
Just
Yeah,
have to
I
be
know
serious
someone
about
that
it and
met someone on a
brave.
dating app, and they're a happy family now.
Yes.
Like,
Yep. It happens
worked
for
out,
sure.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. When is a good point to share your testimony? I'm assuming they're saying with the person you're dating. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You had a thought on this.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's really good to know that, even in advance. I mean, if you're friends with the person, you should know them kind of like that. But, when Tyler
At
and
least
I...
part of it.
Yeah, when Tyler and I started dating, we were like, I would say within the first month of us dating, it was just like part of a date night one night. I was like, hey, I'm just so curious to know about your story with God. I'm like, tell me about your journey, tell me about your testimony. And I actually really loved learning that side of him.
And I think that comes too with a part of like trying to figure out if this person's like really being themselves.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. Because like if they can be vulnerable, and that's a great way to build trust. Because
Yes,
you're going to be
true.
vulnerable with each other,
Yeah.
sharing your testimony with each other. And if they're putting on some sort of show, like if they're not really following Jesus, but they're saying that they're a Christian just so you'll date them, you're going to find out pretty quick.
Yeah.
So like I feel like there's a lot of great reasons to.
It was good for
Share
me
that.
too, I think, because like some of the stuff I've journeyed through in my life has been really difficult.
Right.
So it was a good way for him to get to know me better and to understand how I've navigated some of that with God in my life.
What
Yeah.
you've dealt with. Yeah. And I think too, like, there might be some people, like if you've got a difficult past, there might be, someone who's not quite ready to share that with you yet.
Yeah.
Like they're maybe a bit nervous. So like, I think you also have to respect someone if they don't want to share that quite yet, if it's early on. Right.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's a great thing to be able to do with each other, sharing your testimony.
Talk about God. Like it's just a normal thing to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. You'll know when the right time is to share that. Breaking up, best way to go about it.
Text message.
No, no.
I think your friend should tell them actually.
Update your Facebook relationship status.
Yes.
Let them find out that way.
I think the best way to break
Obviously, we're kidding.
Yes.
Yeah, don't do that. Those are bad. Those are bad.
Not advice.
What is that?
Gonna
Sarcasm.
cut that
Yes.
clip and
Yeah.
just like
I think the best way to break up with someone is to be clear and concise and kind.
Yes.
And so like I think where did the majority of your relationship happen? Okay, like if you are just like in the wheeling stage and you're just texting each other and you're like, hey, this might not work. I think it would be appropriate if you've only communicated over text to communicate that over text. If you've dated someone for like a few months and you've hung out and you've had dates and you've been together face to face, then you need to match that. You need to go face to face and be clear with them. Like, okay, I am breaking up with you. Don't say, hey, I need a break or this isn't working. Like very clear language so they know what's happening.
Yeah.
Be kind.
and what you really want.
And what
And
you
own
really
your
want.
feelings, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you're like you don't think it's gonna work, say that.
Yeah.
Like be nice about it. Don't
Yeah.
be a jerk, but
Just
like be honest. Like because if you're not honest, then they're gonna think, oh, well, if it's just this reason, I can change that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know.
And so they're holding on thinking
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like going to come back around or it'll change.
Or I just need a break. Okay.
yeah.
So they're gonna
Yeah.
come back. We're gonna get back together. I'm gonna wait for them.
Yeah.
Hold out hope for that.
Yeah. Like use these words. Hey, person, I don't think this is working out. This is the reason why. And I think I'm ready to end the relationship, although I've had a great time getting to know you.
Yeah.
That's
easy.
good. I noticed how you didn't blame God there.
I do not think you should blame. If you bring God into the breakup, then that person now has hurt with God too.
Yes.
Don't blame God
Yeah.
for
Yes. God says
a
we shouldn't
decision
be
you wanna
together
make.
No.
anymore.
I also think that if you are planning, if you're going to break up with someone, do it as soon as you know.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think you should drag on the relationship, and because
yeah.
the feelings are going to get deeper, and
Yeah.
they're going to start to like you more as you're pulling away. They still think that
Yeah.
you like each other.
I
so
know people that have made this mistake, and it's they've always regretted not
Yep.
doing it sooner.
yes, it makes it harder.
Yeah, it
Yep.
makes it way harder, and it because the other person starts to realize like, oh, you haven't been like committed to this for
That
a while
hurts
now.
way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've been lying to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, don't blame God, for your breakup, but like also like there's a chance God's going to give you wisdom and say like, hey, maybe this isn't right,
Yeah.
but you need to own it.
Yeah.
You need to be the one to take that advice
Yeah.
and own it.
That can be between you and God without you sharing that with the person.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Next question. How to let a guy down easy because he's hindering your relationship with God.
I think it's the same advice.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think anything changes in this
Honesty.
scenario.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Like, okay, honesty, yes, but maybe don't say, hey, person, we're breaking up because you make me a worse Christian.
Right,
No.
Yeah.
Like, that's not kind. Still be kind. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're still making decisions yourself. Like maybe they are affecting the decisions you make, but that's still you making those
Yeah.
decisions.
You own that. You
Yeah.
own your 10% or whatever
Yeah.
part of you is in the situation, and you do it quick and kind and clear.
Absolutely.
Don't tell them that you're going to go date Jesus for a while.
Oh my
I just
gosh.
find that so creepy. And then then what? You start like dating somebody, you're like, oh, I broke up with Jesus. It's very weird. Just don't do
Well,
that.
then if more than one person says that, then what does that mean? Back to polygamy, which is not. Yeah.
It's a great podcast.
Why are there so many early Christian marriages? Is it wrong for them to happen as such?
I mean, a lot of people are excited for their honeymoon, and I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. We talked about this a little bit, like, I guess, like statistically, so long as it's healthy.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
So long as like it's healthy and you guys are really committed to each other and it's like a good situation.
People are supporting
Yes.
you.
Yeah. Statistically, it's showing now that, if you're specifically like in a religion, kind of like Christianity or whatever, and you get married when you're young, like those are the marriages that seem to be lasting long term versus
Yeah.
some of the other ones. Like if they're not living together, if they're, those are the ones that are statistically higher of staying married.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, if you think about Christians, we're called to live out a different lifestyle. And when you date with purpose and you date with intention and you date to get married and see if they're a spouse, when you know that and your community is behind you, you should get married.
Yeah.
And
You
that
shouldn't
that,
be making the decision to get married because, so-and-so got married at this age.
Yeah.
No, don't get married
I
because
guess I'm supposed to do the same thing.
Yeah,
Or
don't-
fairy tales,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
entrap them as quick as possible.
or people want
Yeah.
to be like a wife or a husband and have the
Yeah.
house and the kids and like that's what they want to get there now. Like when I was in high school, I wanted to get married at 18, kids at 20, all of these things. I'm so glad that wasn't my path.
So what changed your mind?
The more I got to know God, I just wanted to, like in my life, I just wanted to be so content as a Christian by myself with God before I like wanted to bring anyone else into it. Because honestly, being married takes my time. Like it takes my time away from God more because I spend time with I don't have as much time to come and volunteer or to help people out or to do those things. And so what changed my mind is like I just want to get to know God and I want to live the life that he has called me to. And I want to know what that life is. And if anyone if anyone comes up and can match that and can run with me in that and can help me pursue what God's called me to, then I'll get married. So I didn't expect to I didn't expect to date anyone. I didn't expect to get married. I was 23, living with my dog, hanging out with Alicia all the time. And my life was awesome. And then Parker came along and I was just like, oh, you actually make me better. You make me do these things better. I'm interested in him, not in being a wife, not in the life that comes with it, but partnering alongside him to be
Well, and he fit
in
into
life
your
together.
life so nicely.
He
Because
did.
I'm just thinking about like what we first started talking about at the beginning of the podcast where I don't know, let's say you graduate and I want to go off to New York City to study and somebody else do your life plans align, right? I don't know, you get married at 18 and it's like, oh no, here this person wants to study abroad and I just want to stay in my hometown the rest of my life. Like these are things to know too, right?
Yes.
To not just rush into it and be like, oh no, I didn't know these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a way to communicate those things too. Like if with this person, hey, I can maybe if you get married, I can move with you.
Right.
I'm okay with that.
If
Yeah.
that's part of the
If
dream.
that's part of, but communicate that.
Yeah.
Don't just I'll assume that that's okay with them or I'll assume, and And be like, but hey, what's your plan after that? Like,
Yeah.
talk.
Can you
communicate.
financially afford to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question. How
You
many?
guys had so many questions.
Yeah. How many boys is too many boys? Getting crushes wise.
So like we're asking how many boys is too many boys to have a crush on?
I think that's what she's trying to say. Yeah.
I think when you date, you should know who you want to date.
Yeah.
I know. I don't think you should have like, what is it? The Rolodex, the like card file of boys.
Yeah.
I like this one today.
I mean, it's okay to have crushes.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of natural.
Yeah.
Especially when
think
you're a
so.
teenager.
Yeah.
But if you can't narrow it down to one, then I think like
Maybe you're just not ready to date.
Yeah,
yes,
maybe.
if your eyes are noticing all of the boys around you and you like all of the boys, then that's not going to change when you're in a relationship. You'll just
You're on the list. You'll do.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
no,
my gosh.
I don't think it's like that. I think so too. I think you should be clearly
You have like a secretary.
intentional.
What's your name? They on the list? Sorry, you're not on the list.
Well, now you are.
Yeah. Oh yeah, now you are. My gosh.
Oh, no. Yeah, maybe just wait.
Yeah. No.
Just wait.
So are we saying one then? One intentional person you like
Yeah. Because that's the thing. You're gonna have to commit to this person,
If you're going
right?
to date. Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're going to date.
But it sounds like you.
Which,
might not
again,
be
as a
ready to.
teenager, you don't need to do.
No, you don't need to.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're planning on dating because you feel pressured to, or your friends are, those are not good reasons to date someone.
Correct.
No.
So give that more thought. What is a good age to date? What if you like someone who likes you back, but you're not old enough / allowed to date?
Always respect your parents.
Always respect.
So
yeah.
when it comes to the being allowed to, like don't.
We are team
Yeah.
parents here. If they've told you not to do it, then just wait. That is
Yeah.
totally fine. What was the first part of the question, though? I liked that. What was the first
Well,
part?
and your parents also know you best. Like they're not
Yes.
just trying to like rain on your parade. Like
They,
they're
they know
yeah.
you
know
best,
you super well.
and they've been in dating before, and
Yeah.
they know what that's like, and so they're trying to protect you from that, or wait until you're at a spot.
And maybe
where
they
you're-
see a bit of like themselves in you. Like they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I made this bad decision when I was their age. So like I'm trying
Right,
to
yes.
protect you
Protect.
from making
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
same bad choice I made. Like that's potentially.
I remember the first half. So it was like, when should I date?
Oh yeah, what is a good age to date?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is just where I will bring up my favorite stat, which I guess has now changed. But like, if you start dating in high school, you had traditionally a 1% chance of marrying that person. And so like really you're more likely to break up, and like, so you have to kind of evaluate. I'm like, how much do I like this person for real? Do I want them to be in my life for a long time? Do I want to risk dating them knowing that there's only a 1% chance that I will be with them? I mean, the stat has now increased. Yay, you, all the dreamers out there. It's now 2%.
But is that a good
There's
thing?
a 2% chance. Well, it's still really low, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
is this someone you could just have a friendship with for a long time? And, eventually as you grow up
And
together
those-
or whatever, maybe then you start dating. But
And those 2%
Yeah.
might not be happy.
right.
They
No.
might not be in a good marriage.
Right.
Well, and in the first, like 5 years ago when it was 1%, it was 0.1% were still together after 10 years of marriage.
Right, but and everyone wants to be the 1% though,
Yeah.
right? So like,
Yes.
I want to be the
They
one.
wanna be the
who's, like in love
exception.
early.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
we all want that fairy tale story. but-
And there's two paths you take, right? You
Yep.
get married and you break up, right? Those are the only.
and you break or
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 you
you
break
break up.
up.
Oh no! Or you get married, or you break up, right? Those are or
yeah.
or,
or
we
you die,
corrected
or you
that.
die,
which is the third option.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's a little
and
morbid.
so it's like, are you ready to emotionally handle a breakup?
Right.
Are you ready to emotionally handle the possibility of getting married?
Or
Are
like
you-
or losing that friend.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Or are you mature enough that you can communicate honestly how
Yes.
you're feeling about certain things?
Yeah.
Are you like getting your friends to do your talking for you? Like,
Yeah.
if you can't do those things, like,
Right, yeah.
probably not ready to date someone.
No.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, are you mature enough to have a functioning relationship and make
Yeah.
the decision when
Yeah.
it comes to it?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
are you going to be mature enough to be like, I know this isn't working, and I know I
Yeah.
need to break up with this person, but I can't because
Yeah.
it's too difficult. Like,
Yeah.
well,
And if you're too worried to lose that person as a friend,
yeah,
wait until you're at an older age. Stay friends with them until you're ready to either gain them as a spouse or lose them as a friend, right? Like,
Yep.
or try, like, I don't know. I think there's a way to be like, hey, like, I don't want to ruin this good friendship.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can we test this
Yeah.
out? Can we
like,
see
can we
if
just,
it?
let's just go on a few dates.
Yeah.
Not really fully commit to something yet, but like,
And-
let's just see how we get along.
Yes.
You know,
That's okay.
That's okay.
It is okay to have a friend like that you maybe have a little bit of a crush on, or you could see something there, and to go out for coffee 2 or 3 times. And if it doesn't work out, it's okay to say that. Like, it's not like you're committing to this huge thing.
Yeah, going
like,
out for coffee is not a full commitment. Like, it's
no,
like,
you can just get to know each other in
but
that
at the
way.
same time, that's within those characteristics of Christian dating that we were talking about, right? Like, you're not spending time alone together. And
Well, and if you start dating when you're like 14, 15, are you going to be able to maintain those boundaries you want to keep until you're like old enough to get married?
Yeah.
You just have to think about it.
I don't think there's one age though. It's all about your maturity
And respect your parents.
and respect your parents.
Ask your parents for advice, you know, or your friends, or
Or your
whoever,
youth leader,
you know, like
or
a mentor.
Yeah, people who know you
And want the best for you.
Yes.
And
and who love God.
yes, most importantly. Are dating apps as a Christian bad?
Did we talk about
We
that?
did this one.
No, this is a separate one.
Oh.
But yeah, I think we covered that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
When you're old enough to use them.
Yeah.
Tinder, yes. Other, no.
Go back to a few minutes ago when we talked about that. We got some fun questions.
Oh, we're to that part.
Yes.
Okay,
Those are
we
all
made
our
it.
serious questions.
Whew, for now.
I'm sweating. We made it.
Should I read all of them? Well, except for the
Read the first one.
best way to get a ring by spring. You had some good advice for this.
Yeah.
I think it's,
I mean, the jokester in me wants to say, like, join the youth ministry team because that worked for us, obviously.
and we were both engaged by spring.
We were, yeah. So you could, these are, yeah. So
That should not be why you join the youth team, though.
How to get yourself a ring. This is fairly simple. First, you need a source of income. So maybe you're babysitting a lot, or you're, you know, whatever job you can find around. Maybe your parents give you an allowance.
Yeah.
And then you save up until you can afford to buy yourself one.
Oh,
That's how you get a
That's
ring
so simple.
by spring. Yeah.
But I would like to clarify though, like if
You
you,
can
do not
buy
have the
rings
money,
everywhere.
if you don't have the money saved up by spring, don't steal the ring.
No.
No.
Save up for it.
You know, you can buy rings.
look at
I think
Marketplace on Facebook.
You know,
pawn
there
shops,
are different
Walmart.
a
Yeah.
ring pop, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Claire's still a
Yeah,
thing?
what are your
You'll-
standards for,
Yes.
you know, like what does this ring look like? Is it silver? Is it gold? You know, is it a ring pop?
Plastic
Depends how much you have to
edible.
babysit
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Get yourself
Yeah.
that ring.
Maybe it's just a little bit of yarn or something.
Yeah. A permanent marker
But there's
line.
a lot of ways to get a ring. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Or
yeah, it's already past spring though. So maybe you start saving for next spring.
next year,
Right.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
So,
Yeah.
The dollar store sells those lollipop rings.
yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
We solved
and-
your problem. You're welcome.
And you get a little bit of candy too, you know, like that's
It's nice.
win-win.
It's a good deal.
Yeah.
Aha, it's pretty sweet.
These two, I'm going to shout out who this one's from. This one's from Tyler,
Tyler.
Alicia's husband. How do you properly date a tree?
Okay, so to date a tree properly, you have to take a sample.
Right.
Right. So you need a core of the tree.
Well, and what's the wood
so
species?
it's sort of
you know?
like you
Yeah.
need kind of like, it's kind of like this corkscrew thing. You,
Right.
you put it in and then they pull out the length of it. You can count all the rings on it. If you're a professional, really, you
Right.
have to submit that to someone who knows what they're doing.
Right.
Yes.
And then they can tell you how many years old that the tree is, and then you
Yeah.
have sufficiently dated it.
Right.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
recommend doing this at home. Like my cousin, I'm not lying, is a doctor of trees.
Oh, yes,
wow.
that's
She
the
went,
thing.
she
Yeah.
went to school for 12 years to know how to date a
Is
tree.
that just being an arborist?
No, it's
No.
more than that. She,
really?
you know what? When she actually dates a tree and looks at all of the rings, she can also tell you the years of drought and the years of
They're all dying.
flourishing.
They're all turning off our podcast.
That's how you date a tree.
Yeah, it's a real science.
That's the date.
There's
when
a
it was
career
planted.
path you could take as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there you go.
How do you date rocks? Now, this one's a little more difficult.
I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah.
I have no answer for that.
Yeah, I think there's what do you call that?
There's a science for that too.
Rockology.
No, the carbon dating.
Oh, carbon dating.
Carbon dating, maybe.
Sure,
You know,
Perhaps.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible.
could work. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh, wait. Are they talking about Dwayne the Rock?
Oh,
I don't think you can date him.
You don't want to date him.
I think he's married.
Yeah.
Sorry, girls.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, there you
He's
go.
also just a weird guy in general. I don't know if yeah.
And he's married.
Yeah.
Man, look at all
Regardless.
this wisdom we passed on today. So much
All
wisdom.
this wisdom.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again,
But-
these are just our thoughts.
Yeah.
And
Pray
if you
about it.
if you
Yes.
would like clarification on anything, DMs.
You can talk to us all you want. Yeah. And keep submitting your dating questions to torture us so that we have to talk about this again.
Yeah.
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 You can send us any topic you would like to hear us discuss on the podcast.
Yes.
Go to hillcrestchurch.net/journeycast. You can fill out a form there. Or you can send us a message on social media. But yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank
Share
you,
this with your friends. Thanks, Krystin, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Enjoy your Diet
Thank
Coke.
you for the. Are you impressed I didn't drink it all?
Yes.
I was trying to go slow.
Self-control.
For just a bit.
All right.
All right. Bye,
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.